Today we're sitting down with Anna Bovitz, the director of Project 37, the creative mind behind B-Side Indie Music Cafe, and, just for fun, a member of a My Chemical Romance cover band. Project 37 is a community-driven nonprofit with a mission to build inclusive, creative spaces that bring people together in downtown St. Cloud. One of their standout projects is B-Side, an all-ages, sober coffee shop that's quickly become a vibrant hub for connection, music, and art. Anna's background in music and graphic design uniquely fuels their approach to building these spaces. In this episode, we're diving into the story behind Project 37, how B-Side fits into the bigger vision, the branding process with Moxie, and how the community has responded since B-Side opened its doors. Plus, we'll get a glimpse of what's on the horizon for both Project 37 and B-Side. Welcome to Behind the Brand, the podcast for small business owners, solopreneurs, and aspiring entrepreneurs who are ready to start strong, stand out, and stay bold. I'm Taylor.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Isabella, and we're part of the powerhouse team of marketers at Moxie Creative.
We're taking you behind the scenes to explore what it takes to build and grow a memorable brand.
Ready to get behind the brand? Let's dive in. Good morning, Moxieverse. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Brand. Taylor here, and I'm joined by everybody's favorite Moxie, Mr. Mo.
Hello.
And today we have a very special guest, Anna Bovitz, the director of Project 37 and creative mind behind B-Side Music Cafe. Hi, Anna. Thank you for joining us.
I'm excited to be here.
Oh, we're so excited to have you. We had the pleasure of working with Anna and a few other members of her team this past spring to help with the branding of B-Side, the new indie music cafe downtown. And it was so much fun getting to learn more about your organization, what you guys do, what you're trying to do. And we really wanted to be able to share that with all of our listeners too, because it's such a special initiative, especially for us as a downtown business, to have you here. So first of all, Anna, I want to start with a little bit of a background. You, like I said, are the director of Project 37, but music has obviously been something that has been a part of your life for a long time. You're in a really cool cover band that I want to talk about, and you're also a graphic designer. So how does all of that mesh to create you, Anna?
Sure. I think especially in the last, I would say 5 years, I've grown to wear a lot of hats. I do a lot of different really cool things, and they all kind of come back to music in one way or another.
Yeah.
In fact, just last week, we had our School of Rock performance where I'm the director of the School of Rock camp that the Worth Center puts on.
Awesome.
And again, that's a program.
Real Jack Black vibes?
A little bit. That's something that I was a part of when I was a teenage musician, and now I'm directing it.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's very cool to see how all of my work has come to be what I am now today.
Yeah, absolutely. So could we kind of start things off by talking about Project 37 and the Worth Center and B-Side? They all connect, and it can be a little bit confusing. So I think that's a great foundation to start with.
So I can start by just talking about the nonprofit as a whole, because that's usually where I like to start to make things make sense.
Perfect.
So the nonprofit is the Independent Music Collaborative of Central Minnesota, which is a mouthful. But they started about 10 years ago when the Electric Fetus closed downtown. There weren't any spaces for all ages music. The Java Joint and the Java Z had been closed for a while by that point. So they started that group to bring an all ages and sober music space to St. Cloud again. Over time, that kind of evolved into, they kind of absorbed Common Roots Festival as a branch of them. If you're unfamiliar with Common Roots, it is a weekend festival every August that hosts original music all through downtown. We have, this year, I think we have 12 venues. Normally it's 10 venues. God. That kind of supported the original music side of the goal of the nonprofit. The all ages and sober portion, they were in the process of acquiring a building to turn into this venue. It was in a space where the address was 36. That fell through, and to keep that spirit alive, they called the branch of this Project 37.
Okay.
So that's where that started. It existed for a little bit before I joined the board in 2020. When I joined, it took about a year for me to kind of find my feet. So I was like, we keep talking about these things. Mm-hmm. Things aren't really happening. I just want to start doing things.
Yeah.
Because obviously our goal is to buy a building and to have this space, but if nobody knows who we are, they're not going to trust us.
Yep.
So in 2022, Project 37 started doing shows. We received grants to do those shows so that we can pay artists fairly and pay everybody involved with those shows fairly, which is another really big part of the music part of the nonprofit. We're all musicians and we all know what it's like to not be paid well. So we want to turn that around and we want to make sure that we are setting the standard. So then here we are 3 years later and we bought the space. and we're fulfilling our mission of having an all ages and sober venue.
That's so awesome. It sounds like they really needed a doer, and that was you.
They put me on the board because I was young.
Hey, no shame in that. Sometimes that's what it takes.
It
New,
is, yeah.
fresh ideas, a different perspective.
Young energy.
Yeah. We see that a lot here, right?
Yeah.
I think we as a team have really been able to up level what we're doing and try new things and be comfortable because we have some younger blood in the mix, right? Going back to Project 37, we've talked a lot about, okay, we're going to pay our artists fairly. We're going to do these things. That's how Project 37 started. What is the positioning of Project 37 in the community? You said, okay, we have to start doing things for the community to start recognizing us. And that did seem like step number one, because when you came on the scene with, hey, now we want to open B-side, it was a little bit of an easier transition or an ask. So what did that whole process look like?
Well, I mean, it definitely took us time to build up our Project 37 community. We really found a home with the punk community in town. Specifically, there's a band that we started featuring that was a young punk band called Identity Crisis, and they're out of Sartell. And because of them, we were able to get kids from the schools out to come see their friends perform. Through that, we got some really amazing punk nights started. And that's one of our big thing is punk nights, and that brings out such a great community. And with that, we've been able to do so many other kinds of shows and feature so many kinds of artists from all different walks of life and all different places. We've had bands from Fargo and Duluth, as far down as Chaska. We've had all over the state and not just in our state. We've been able to build a really great community here in our attendees and the people that know us and support us. I feel like I can't go anywhere now without people knowing about Project 37 already. We just had some bands come through the other venue I work at, and they brought up Project 37 to me.
That's so awesome. But they had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's super cool. That's really awesome. Mo, you were, the person, before you even came in to talk about B-Side, you had brought up Project 37 to us in the office. You were the first person that I had ever heard talk about that. So what has your involvement been with the organization? I know you love music. You've been in bands.
Yeah.
We were just sharing some band nerd pictures yesterday in our group chat. So music's in your blood too.
Yeah, I think we first met with Rock for Alzheimer's.
I think so,
You
yeah.
were running the School of Rock stage or whatever we're calling it. Some of the people involved in Project 37 and at the Worth Center come to Chamber, and they were all talking about the hype about buying the building and if it was going to happen and stuff. And I had heard that, oh, yeah, it's happening, and you've raised so much money in a short amount of time. And so I was just like, I have to talk to these people. I want to be involved in this.
Yeah.
It's such a great thing. And so I just reached out, I think, on Instagram or something. It was like, how do we work with you? And you were like, we'd love to work with you guys too. And it just seemed to work out. And it was a super fun process. And we're there all the time. We were just there yesterday.
Yeah, just there yesterday. And it was so cool because it's like, okay, we're at the location of one of our clients, meeting with a client, and then in walk two of our other clients. It was just like such
And
a
one
cool,
was sitting behind us.
Yeah. So it was just so cool to be kind of in this Moxie creative little breeding ground kind of thing.
Yeah.
But okay, so now I really want to dig into B-Side, which is the brand that we helped create. And we'll talk about all of that, but I really want to focus on what the concept is, how that came to be. Mo had mentioned, okay, we're raising funds for buildings. So start at the very beginning, which you kind of already have, saying okay, this is what we wanted to do. But
Right.
when it was finally okay, we're going all in, we found the building
Yep.
that we wanted. What did that look like, that
Sure.
process?
Truthfully, we had looked at that building a couple of times
Okay.
through the years, and it wasn't ever right. There were too many problems with it. So you may know that Oblivion
Yes.
Coffee Bar was in that space before. We had a really good relationship with the owner. We were doing shows there. We had mentioned a couple of times that this was a previous building that we had looked at. She really believed in our mission. So when the time came that she had to close down, she reached out to us first. We were like, I don't know if we can do this because we're not prepared for this. We have to raise a lot of money. We can't just buy it outright. We have to figure out another solution. We can't afford to rent it. It was a really weird time for us because we were like, this is everything we've been wanting, but we can't do it yet.
Yeah.
So really, it comes back to our community. We hosted 2 fundraisers, and we raised $80,000 to put a
Wow.
down payment on that building. So when we got that, it was like, oh my God, this is everything we've been working towards. what do we do now? It took a lot of time to kind of figure out what that space was going to look like. I mentioned the Java Joint. I was too young to have gone to the Java Joint.
Same.
But a lot of our committee members.
Yeah, I was too young too.
Pretty sure you frequented the Java Joint a lot.
A lot of our committee members played there, spent a lot of time there, and they really wanted to bring that environment back in a better, more modern way. So we wanted to make sure we had a lot of seating so that people can come in and work on homework and schoolwork after they're done at school. They have a space to host meetings that is a comfortable space to be in, that we can host a lot of people. And then the end goal was building a stage because we wanted to have a lot of music there too.
Yeah.
So as the idea really started to form, we had ideas for names long before we bought the building because it was always a dream. What would our venue look like? I believe it was Angela that officially came up with the idea of B-side.
Yeah, it's so perfect.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anything else now. It's such a cool space that, like, calling it B-side and making sure that, like, it's not just about music, but it's also about, like, the B side of society, making sure that those people that are maybe left out by the rest of society have somewhere to go, have somewhere to feel comfortable and have that third space. B side kind of fits everything we wanted to make sure we represented. Because again, we are also a sober environment.
Yes.
And that's not the norm. It's becoming more normal.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're surrounded by bars down here.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by bars in every city, and there are not enough sober spaces.
Yes.
So that's another reason that B-side just really fits.
Yeah. What does that sober element look like for you guys? Obviously, during the day, you're a coffee shop, but, you know, like Mo was saying, we just went over there and met with a client. So we will go over there for meetings or just walk and, you know, get a caffeine fix. But when people are going to shows, a lot of the time, drinking is part of what happens. But by being an all ages venue and, you know, a sober venue, that's clearly not what's happening there. So what does that look like for you guys?
For us, it is kind of easier on the back end because getting a liquor license is very difficult.
Yeah.
We're able to kind of just make sure that this space is comfortable, that parents feel comfortable sending their kids there, that people that live a sober lifestyle can come here and don't have to worry about being around alcohol or people that are intoxicated. It creates a better experience, in my opinion. I turned 21 during COVID, so I didn't really experience the bar scene, and I was already invested in Project 37. This has been my life since I was able to drink, and I so much prefer the environment at Project 37 shows.
Yeah.
Everything is different, and I really, really love it.
Were all of your shows sober shows before you opened up B-Side?
Yes. There may have been a venue or two that would not turn their bar sober.
Sure.
Which is, you know, their businesses.
Yeah.
They can only do what they can.
Yeah.
But all of our shows have been sober in all ages.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
How has the venue been going for shows?
The shows have been amazing. Our very first show, we had to turn away so many people. And it was more like come back in like 15 minutes when somebody else has left.
Sure.
We're at capacity. But
Crazy.
we had some awesome bands. A lot of people have come through for shows. We really have never had to worry about the shows because we had such a good community already for our shows. They've all been incredible. It's been so great to get bands in there too. My partner and I run the sound there. That's Cameron. And we're able to just give everybody the best experience on both sides of the stage because of how the way we treat that space.
What can people expect when they come to shows?
They can expect some cool drinks. We normally name drinks after the bands
Oh,
for
I love
shows. We have a really cool environment in there. It's very colorful and it's fun for shows. Bands that come in, they're all top tier. I'm a little biased, but every single band that has come through has just been so incredible.
Does your band play there?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, plug for Anna's band. Anna is in a My Chemical Romance cover band, which makes my millennial heart flutter just a little bit. So super cool. Well, now I want to dig into the brand a little bit because one of the things you just mentioned was like, oh, you have a very colorful space. And you do. It is like the most on-brand space, I think, that has ever been created with the materials that we've given. So
On par with Moxie, I think.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Which I think is super cool. It's always so fun when we can see how people take the brands that we help create and expand it further. And that doesn't always happen because not everybody has a brick and mortar space, but you guys have just done a really top-notch job of that. So we helped Anna and her team with the B-Side branding project, and it was a bit of a process, as they all are, but Mo was very invested in that, and it was worth it for sure. So just kind of hearing from both of your perspectives, I'd love just to like, from a client side and then from a designer side, what are the things that you guys both loved so much about the whole process and the collaboration? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I can just say,
Okay.
like I said, I was just loved the mission and everything that you guys were doing and really wanted to work on it. And growing up, going to Java Joint and playing in bands at different coffee shop venues like that, it felt really personal to me. And then you guys also had a vision that I was like, oh, I just want to make this what they want and
Yeah.
it to be the best thing and fit all ages. And there was just so much that I wanted it to work so well. And then, yeah, it ended up being a very large amount of work that was all just so fun to work on, and I couldn't stop.
That was
working
probably
on
one
it.
of your
Yeah.
favorite projects you've worked on.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever,
Yeah.
honestly. And
You put blood, sweat, and
yeah,
tears
yeah,
into that
yeah.
baby.
Yeah. And just I mean, it's sometimes difficult with a board.
Creative people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we see it all the time with us, you know, trying to do our own marketing. Like, our creative minds just kind of get in our way sometimes. And so then when it's two creative parties working together, it definitely makes for some really fun challenges,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah. And then, yeah, like the board, you guys all had different ideas too, and sometimes
yeah.
that can be a struggle, and sometimes it's easy to look at a struggle like, how do I make everybody happy?
Yeah.
And bringing some of what this person says and some of what you said, and collaboratively, I think, came together really nice.
I always tell clients, especially when they're in a position where they are working with other people, which would be you, for example, like, I don't envy where you are at because you're having to be like the funnel person between everybody. And that's a really hard spot to be in, but you handled it all beautifully. And, you know, the end result was obviously great. But from a client perspective, what was that experience like for you? And from a designer perspective, right? Because you have that design ability too. And you're like, I see it. It's there. It's in my brain. Like, pull it out.
Yeah. I was so excited when Mo first reached out to me. I was in the process of trying to figure out what things would look like for the coffee shop. I had ideas for what I wanted, but I did not have the time or the skill to make it happen the way I wanted to. And Mo, I said this at our last meeting, but I had such a design crush on you for so long. Working with you for Rock for Alzheimer's and seeing all the different stuff that you've worked on, it was so incredible to get to work with you.
Oh, awesome.
Coming into this, I was already so excited, and I knew I was working with the right people. Like, the first time I met with you, I was like, this is correct. We are
Yeah.
supposed to be here. It was so fun to go through the process of figuring out what that logo was going to look like and talking creatively. It's been so fun, like the small meetings that like you and I have had to pick apart the things that I've made for it, and you tell me how to make it better, and it's awesome. Really loved the process of coming in for meetings. You lay everything out for us, and I was left those meetings on such a high. Like, this is so cool. This is so awesome to see things presented in this way and to see our vision coming to life. It was, through the whole process, just amazing. We obviously had a lot of creative people on our board, which we're all musicians.
Yeah.
We've all got our own visions of how we want things to look, and it was really difficult sometimes because we all have those visions that we needed. But I think everybody is so happy with where we ended up. And I've seen a lot of people, they just come in and they go, oh my God, that logo is so amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it looks so cool. That was really fun for us to then see it up. You know, we're like texting in our group chat, like, the sign's up. You know, we're all so
Before
excited.
the sign was up, you had like some show posters at other venues,
yeah.
and we were just like seeing it was like, what?
What?
This
Yeah.
yeah.
That's crazy. And the way that you were able to really take the whole brand, because we always talk about like your logo is not your brand, you know, it's just one piece of it, and you and your team have done such an awesome job to really expand that. I mean, from the decals on the window, which I think kind of started as like a, hey, you guys could do something like this, and then you actually did it, and it's
Yeah.
like, cool, our clients took our ideas. Like, that doesn't happen all the time. I mean, your walls are painted in brand colors, so
Yep.
you have a rug that's like,
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, how did you even find that? It's literally like a B-side rug, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it really fit the whole 70s kind of eclectic vibe that you were going for. It all just came together so beautifully.
I think it's a space too that, you know, as professionals, we see a bunch of professionals in there, and it's fun going there. And I think, you know, young people if it's their first time coming and they see the door and they see the sign, I think it feels like a Minneapolis club or something.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing has come together so well.
And I will say, I loved going to Oblivion, but it was really hard for me because it was so dark, and I was always like, oh my gosh, I'm going to like fall asleep trying to have this meeting here. And I don't know if it's, you guys have done stuff with the lighting, or if it's just because the colors are more bright and vibrant it just has more energy. I feel more alive when I'm in there. Than
The furniture is
and that
crazy.
is like, again, loved Oblivion. I have no knocks
Yeah,
on that.
we
But
miss Oblivion
I
a
was
lot,
very,
actually.
I was like actually kind of nervous. Like, ooh, this is like
Yeah.
the space is so dark and moody, and but you guys have just really done a really awesome job with it. Do you feel like the feedback from the community on the space and the branding and all that has been really positive?
Yeah, no, I would say so. Anybody that has issues may just not have spoken up.
Yeah,
But all the feedback we've
which is
had
good. Keep that in your pocket.
has been so positive. We were really selective about the people we wanted working there, about the coffee we wanted to offer there. We were involved in like every step of the way, and we wanted to make sure that every step was perfect. And I think we have done that.
Yeah.
I think we have a really amazing team that works there. Baristas are so wonderful. Our coffee is some of my favorite coffee ever. It's Up Coffee from Minneapolis. And we put so much into every part of the shop that I'm so happy with how it's turned out, and I'm so happy to see the community reacting so well to it too.
Yeah, wonderful. What are your hours?
We are open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 8. If we have shows, the hours kind of vary because we have
Sure.
to do sound check, and sound check's very loud. So if you know that there's a show, maybe don't come in for your evening coffee. But if you want to buy a ticket for the show,
Yeah.
you can do
Do
that.
your shows go later than 8 p.m.?
Our shows go, if they're a full band, they'll go until 9 p.m.
Okay. Anna, thank you so much for sitting with us and joining us. Are there any other exciting plans or things on the horizon for Project 37 or the Worth Center or B-Side? Any?
Well, with Project 37, we did just start our education initiative. At the time of recording this, we had our first songwriting class yesterday. We're going to be doing more classes coming up. We're doing some workshops and an event that's kind of podcast oriented, but it's speaking with music professionals in the area, people that have spent a lot of time doing music. That is going to be a live event. It's just going to be talking to them about how did they grow up in music, what did they do. We really want to focus on like giving people the resources to start their own band or to create their own music, and really work on revitalizing the music community in St. Cloud
Yeah.
from the ground up.
And I guess maybe I should have asked this before I was starting the wrap up. And this is me just probably not growing up in St. Cloud. Also, I live like in central Minnesota, so I'm not super in St. Cloud during my off work hours. There obviously is a need for like this music scene, but what is the music scene like in St. Cloud? Like growing, shrinking? What's the
Right now,
lay of the land?
I would believe it's growing.
Okay.
It has not been great. Before I was involved in the music community, I would say it was better. But I really feel the push towards growth right now, and I think we're a part of that.
Yeah, for sure you are.
Because we're also giving underage musicians a space to perform that's not a bar. I didn't really have that growing up. I played at the local blend. I did open mic there, and that's kind of all I had that was safe for
Sure.
me at that time. So by providing a better space for music that isn't for kids, but it's for everybody, we're really hoping to help the music community continue to grow and continue to get better.
And what are some of the events that you guys have going on at B-Side? You just said open mic night. I know you guys do that
Yeah.
there. What else do you do that's maybe for the general public and not just a specific event because of concerts there?
Sure. We don't have as much programming right now as we want to have
Yeah.
in the future. Obviously,
You
we gotta-
will. Yeah,
we
you
gotta
just
ramp
open
up.
the doors, right?
Our plans are to have a lot of community events. We're working on starting Game Night Monday, where you could bring in your own game, or we can play cribbage for an hour. Tuesdays are going to be our education day once we get that fully ramped up. So there will be a different education event every single Tuesday.
Okay.
Wednesdays are our open mic. Thursday is going to be a little flexible because we want to be able to host all different kinds of events.
Yeah.
And then Fridays and Saturdays are always our shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
If musicians and bands out there that are interested in getting involved or playing, how would they go about doing that?
They can get in touch with us on Facebook or Instagram at project37.mn, or they can email us at contact@project37mn.com. Then our booking team will get in touch.
Before we let you go, we ask all of our guests 2 questions, and I will try to make these as relatable to starting B-Side as possible. So what would you say would be kind of a go-to business tip for anybody that is looking to start a business or maybe an offshoot business or, something that is in line with a nonprofit?
Be the person that does things. Don't just talk about it. Actually get out there and start doing things. That changed it for us.
Yeah, well, clearly you were that person. Love that. is such a great little piece of advice. And then maybe what is one piece of advice that you received throughout your kind of career journey?
It's a piece of advice that it kind of just applies to like bands, but I've applied it to my life as a whole. But when I was a student in the School of Rock program, you learn that your practice on your instrument at home is for you to learn your parts. And then when you practice with your whole band, it's so you can learn everybody else's part. So I started really applying that to my whole life. I'll work on the things I need to work on my own. I'll get the things done that I need to, but then when I am with the rest of my group, I kind of figure out where does everybody else need to fit in with my piece and what is everybody else doing. I don't know how much that makes sense.
It does. I think that's
definitely.
like the mark of a really strong leader, right? Like
I hope
you
so.
need to have your shit together, but like you also need to be there for everybody else to
Yep.
make sure that they're succeeding. So that's great. I love it. You clearly are, like I said, a strong leader. You have the making.
If someone's not doing their part,
Yeah.
you know, it's not going to sound
Right.
good or it's not going to function properly.
Right,
or-
Yeah.
right. And that's just, that's not music. That's literally every little thing in life. Well, wonderful, Anna. This was such a fun conversation. I loved learning again about the organizations that you're involved with. I think that our listeners will really enjoy the little tidbits that you had to say. I'm so happy that B-Side is open. It's really a fun thing for us to have as people that work downtown, and I just think that what you guys are doing is awesome. So everybody go check out B-Side Indie Music Cafe, get your caffeine fix, get a French soda, go to a show, and just enjoy this really awesome new venue downtown.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks. See you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Behind the Brand. If you liked this episode, share it with a friend. If you didn't, share it with an enemy. To keep up with us, follow along on our socials. Links are in the show notes below.